Grimm and Penelope Fawley, the conspiracy trying to hush Grimm up, the love room logs, Mathilda Grimblehawk and an Imperious curse, Hermione's instructions to Constance Pickering, and the ancient Japanese documents and an ancient spell. Stay tuned to find out more. Welcome magical folk to Zillman's Wizarding World, the chill place to get your Wizards Unite news without all the crazy hype. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell to be alerted to all the latest in-depth news. So today we're going to break down the trailer, the big trailer with all the hidden secrets. And we're also going to use a little bit of stuff from the extended trailers that we had sent to us by Warner Brothers Games. Just a reminder to those new to the Wizards Unite, the point of the whole game is to stop the Statute of Secrecy from being broken. The Statute of Secrecy is an agreement globally to keep the Wizarding world a secret from non-magical people. So yes, this isn't the first breakdown video, but it's probably going to be one of the most detailed. I've had quite a few days to mull things over, and I've drawn from quite a few sources to put this video together. So this is how this video is going to work. First, we're going to run through the trailer, just pointing out what's in there. Secondly, we'll then go through a deep dive and go through all the analytics and all the secret clues taken from multiple sources who've been working on this for a couple of days now. So if you want to jump to that, just click to this time. Then finally, we're going to sum it all up and try and put some sort of coherent picture to it. If you want to jump to that, then jump to this time. So yes, currently my microphone stand is broken, so I'm having to hold my microphone, so hopefully it doesn't sound too bad. So now we're going to watch some of the trailer. So first we see a 5-side football tournament, and the Death Eaters arrive.
Calling all wizards.
And we have our usual
This
logos.
is your ministry.
So we have what looks like a convenience store with the Monster Book of Monsters. The camera language at this point looks English, but it does change. We then have the threat block, and then a single image of a redacted confidential memo. Next is a stadium in the US, and we know this is actually a taco truck. This comes from our extended trailer, and we have Fluffy. We then have the Guardian newspaper, which is a UK newspaper. Spring is here. Time to live your best life. Now, I think we need a game to live our best life, don't we? In spring would be good. Next is BuzzFeed on a tablet, showing Cornish pixies causing trouble at a baseball game. The Sorting Hat also makes an appearance in Vogue, and the broom footage makes it to the Sci-Fi Channel. Well, Sci-Fi Wire, which is part of the Sci-Fi Channel. Next we have a hippogriff in Asia. I'm not smart enough to work out what region, but I would think it's Japan. And then we have another still image. So, it looks like the lines from the memo have been cut up and are available here to piece together. And thanks to Lynette from Wizard PhD, we can see Mathilda Grimblehawk's signature all cut up, so we can safely say this is from the redacted memo we see earlier. So there is talk from Japan here, and there's also mention of a Spanish ministry. So we go back to our football again, our kittens using 4, and our threat clock, which looks absolutely marvellous in this trailer. So back to Monster Book of Monsters again. Our extended trailer shows this to be in Spain, or a place that speaks Spanish, because the language turns Spanish in the top left corner. So our next freeze frame, London 5 mentioned in another language, Chinese ministry, and Mathilda Grimblehawk. Next we have more promo stuff and Fluffy, and our next freeze frame. So we have a various combination of languages, but things like has a connection with the 5 of London, is there in French, on the back of recent evolutions in this. Confidential, please reply without delay. Since the incident last night, we have been inundated from owls from official response as soon as possible. This is all part of that confidential thing, which we are about to assemble later on. And then we're back to the Monster Book of Monsters, and then another frame, which has things like, Dear Kingsley Shacklebolt, we are already reporting that the counterspell in Italian. The accident is not enough on the Italian. Long period. So a little bit more snippets there. And we go back to our footballers who are dueling, a bit like a Fortress Encounter. So we have the mother of all information here, freeze frame. I'm just going to skip this, we'll come back to it in a second. Then we have another frame, Ministry of Magic France, propagate groundless conspiracy theories, warrant if this, in French. We then have the one that turns into a phone with the ring of spells, some of which we know to be in game, and then our trailer ends. So then we get to the mother of all frames. Now, we have things in English and we have things in Japanese. So in English, we have families are left outraged and somewhat hysterical as investigations into one of the biggest tragedies in recent wizarding history is closed. With no further leads, there is a better chance of finding a bowtruckle in a pile of twigs than finding them. So this looks like it's from the Daily Prophet. Then we have a letter to Nell. Nell is going to be short for Penelope Fawley. So this is Grim Fawley's wife. Everyone keeps telling me to let this go, to focus on the here and now. But I will never let go. I will find you. Oh, Nell. Every conversation we've ever had, everything you couldn't say, unforgivable. Maybe, but I have hope. Maybe Prague will give me the answer they seek. And then it kind of gets a bit garbled. Now, it's kind of like a trace through to try and see what was erased. It could have been a page on top, and they're just tracing through to see a different letter. So it may not be related. But it does mention it's like the oit spell. So people were saying oysters as we were playing around. But the only spell we know is a foundable spell. But nothing really fits in there. But a rare ancient spell. Now remember that. Now, the love room in the Ministry was in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. It was the one that Harry couldn't get into with Sirius's knife, and it actually broke the knife. Dumbledore later mentions this room, saying it's one of the most powerful. Now, we have no idea what goes on inside this room, but if we look at these logs, a lot of people will go, oh look, he goes in there a lot and at odd times. But what a lot of people haven't noticed, and I have to say I thank Reddit for this one, because I also missed it, that Grim Fawley seems to enter the room before he's actually left it. So if you see a lot of the times overlap, so you see he's gone back into the room, but he hasn't actually left it yet. So it's almost like he's stuck in some sort of loop. And then we move on to the Japanese letter. I will inform you of the fact that Mr. Grim Fawley of your ministry visited our ministry yesterday afternoon. There was something suspicious about his behaviour. He required us to show him the rare documents. We deservedly refused it because he didn't respect our regular procedures. We take cognizance that his act is inappropriate for an official of the Ministry of Magic. We, the Ministry, would like to ask Mr. Fawley for a detailed and polite explanation. So Grim has been poking around in the Japanese Ministry after some rare documents, looking for some possibly rare magic. Also links to the Reddit, and that will be below, so you can actually read the full story and translations and stuff. We also have the memo to Constance Pickering from Hermione, who doesn't need to say her last name because she's Hermione. As you're well aware, the calamity is causing more havoc than we could have ever imagined. It is imperative that we get on top of it without delay. Therefore, we would like you to help set up a new department tasked with the sole purpose of containing the calamity and recruiting wizards to the cause. We're calling this department the Statute of Secrecy Task Force, which you're well aware of, that is us, and what we're being recruited to do. And then we have an interview with Mathilda Grimblehawk by Constance Pickering. Constance Pickering is our guide in the game. So when you first start the game, Constance will take you through the setup, and she kind of heads up the Statute of Secrecy Task Force. So where were you on the morning of the incident? It's a very normal morning, really. Let's see. I replied to a flock of memos, sent a couple of owls, nothing particularly eventful. The office started raining again, probably around mid-morning, as I nipped off for a quick pumpkin juice. And that's kind of a nod back to the actual original series of the Meteorologinx and Recanto. How did you end up in the love chamber? Well, I'm not sure. I must admit it's a tad on the fuzzy side, but I'm certain I was there on official important business. It's just at this point in time I can't tell you precisely what that business was. And it says unreliable alibi. Now, the fact that she's on the fuzzy side and she can't really understand why she was there would indicate that she was probably under the Imperious curse. So someone may have cursed her to do something in the love chamber. And they have one letter at the top in apparently Portuguese. One question: why was the British Ministry chosen as the World Calamity Centre? There wouldn't even be calamities if it wasn't for the inconsequential actions of one of your employees. So in regards to reconstructing the memo, we have a Reddit version of it, and we also have a WUTuber version of it. Pretty much the same thing, really, but slightly different orders. So the Reddit version goes like this. Dear Angler, I'm not quite sure what the name is, Ministries across the globe are asking what on earth has happened and who is responsible for this calamity we now find. Since the incident last night, we have been inundated with owls from Japanese Ministry, Chinese Ministry, Spanish Ministry. So this is possibly where our little translations come in, the foreign bits, which aren't all complete in this current version, because they're still being updated. But things like that wanting to propagate unfounded conspiracy theories, we ask ourselves whether this has a link with the London Five. Have there been recent evolutions in this investigation? These messages are quoted verbalis. So then we go on to say, you can see the extent of the concern. Please see the following owl. We must prepare our official response to update the wizarding community as soon as possible. As this communication is highly sensitive, please destroy the post haste. Yours sincerely, Mathilda Grimblehawk. And then we have a second version from the WUTubers. So those involved in the translation are sort of Animagus, Poker Fodder, Go Shining Hunter, The Sylph, Snitches and Witches, Christmas Away, and post them on. There may have been others. If I've missed you, I am sorry. But we're going to go through this. So this is the latest version. Dear Kingsley Shacklebolt, confidential. Please reply without delay. Since the incident last night, we have been inundated with owls from ministries across the globe asking what on earth has happened and who is responsible for this calamity we now find ourselves in. We must prepare our official response as soon as possible. So you can see the extent of the concern, please see the following owl immediately in order to update the wizarding community. French Ministry Magic. Without wanting to propagate baseless conspiracy theories, we wonder if there is a link with the London Five. Have there been any recent developments in the investigation? Spanish Ministry. Are the rumours true that the man responsible is married to one of the London Five? Japanese Ministry. Unless you used ancient magic or are a wind spirit of some kind, there is no way you can view our prohibitions. This isn't our fault. Chinese Ministry. We congratulate this unspeakable person for their quick mind and also performing a counter curse. May we bring up to you guys the detailed information we provided him so we can send an owl. Italian Ministry. They are already reporting that the counterspell is very unstable. It seems that the things implemented to control the incidents are not sufficient in the long term. Quoted verbatim. All this communication is highly sensitive. Please destroy post haste accordingly. Yours sincerely, Mathilda Grimblehawk. So, conclusion time. So what does it all mean? So you know that Grim Foley from the UK Ministry has been acting suspiciously, and he visited Japanese Ministry, demanded to see some rare documentation. So given the letter to Nell, his wife, we can probably assume that the ancient spell was in the Japanese rare documents. The London Five are a group of missing persons we know are somehow linked to the calamity, and Penelope is one of them. Grim has been instructed from on high in the ministry to forget about the London Five and to move on with his life. So just how long have these guys been missing? So here is the big question. Was Grim the cause of the calamity, or is he our hero investigating the disappearance of his wife and the rest of the London Five? Why is he being hushed by the council, which Gareth Greengrass is a member of? Did Grim cause the calamity with the ancient spells found in the Japanese documents, the foundable spell as referred to in game? Did he do this while trying to find Penelope, causing the calamity? Or did the London Five go missing at the same time as the calamity started, and then Grim started his investigation afterwards and is now chasing up what had happened and now finding these ancient documents in Japan? Now, his investigations have taken him to the Love Room in the Department of Mysteries on a number of occasions. Now, why the time is overlapping is a bit of a mystery, but it's either a time turner, or, as we know, that the calamity is pulling things out of time. So perhaps he is now a foundable himself and is caught in a loop going into the Love Room. Now maybe one of our big event tasks in game will be to try and capture so many Grim Follies stuck going into the love room. That could be a confoundable encounter himself. Maybe we need to capture him and free him in order to unlock the next part of the story. This is complete making up at this point, but that's what could happen. The rest of the information is background information about setting up the task force and other ministries' feelings on this matter. They clearly blame the UK ministry, which, given our history, is probably right. There's also talk of conspiracy theories from the French ministry, and is Grimm talking about, or does Grimm have a conspiracy theory of his own? This would line up with the letter to Nell, with him talking about his being told to stop pursuing the matter. Are they trying to hush it up, or is some other secret at work? We're not quite sure yet. Bearing in mind this is a long-term game we're going to be playing over a number of years, so either there's a lot of depth to it that we haven't seen yet, so obviously we can't get the whole solution to it right here and now, otherwise there'll be no story to solve. Or are we going to have multiple stories, so Calamity one thing and then something else? I think the Calamity is going to be a long-term game, so I reckon there could be some conspiracy things to unresolve here. There are also a number of clues here we're not looking at, which are in-game, which are sort of foundables themselves. We're not looking at those yet because it's not widely released, and I don't really want to spoil it, and plus I want to find them myself as I play. While we're in the Discord chat earlier today, actually, Zoe, Stitches and Witches, dropped the tea on us this morning, revealing some information on Grimm and his father. For more details, see her published works. But Grimm, as we know, is somewhat of a death omen, leading us to think that he cast the spell from the ancient documents, the foundable spell as titled in game, in an attempt to get his wife back. This idea works, assuming that there was This idea works, as it sounds like there was quite a long gap between the London 5 going missing and the Calamity starting. So, London 5 go missing, Grimm Fawley has lost his wife, he begins an investigation to find her, takes him to Japan, somehow learns this ancient spell, somehow he thinks it's related to the London 5 disappearing, casts the spell, causes the Calamity. Now I am assuming he doesn't cast it in Japan, he takes it back to the ministry, goes into the love room, and then plays with the spell in there. I'm assuming, because he's lost his wife, there's a love connection there, he's in the love room, and I'm assuming that the ancient spell has to be cast with something going on in that room, the room that we know nothing about yet. This causes the Calamity, and then Grimm gets stuck in this cyclical loop of going into the love room, casting the spell, and then causing the Calamity into the love room, some sort of loop thing going on there. So that's kind of my idea of what the story is so far. I like the fact we haven't got a complete answer yet, so everything's kind of up to interpretation, and it will be more revealed as we go along. Yes, this has been a very long video, I'm sorry about that, but there's a lot to go through, okay? So that is my theory. London 5 go missing, Grimm loses Penelope. In an attempt to get his wife back, he starts his own investigation because he's being shut down by the ministry itself. They're saying to drop it, but he starts going off the books. That's why the Japanese ministry are freaking out, because he's not using official channels. He then discovers the ancient documents, finds the foundable spell, goes back to the ministry, goes into the love room to use whatever's in there that's necessary to cast the spell, causes the Calamity, and then gets stuck in his own little time loop. So that's my theory. We'll see if it's actually true. How does that make you feel? Do you think that makes sense, or do you have your own theory? Leave it in the comments below and I'll see it and we'll have a look and have a discussion about it. Again, any corrections to this video will be put in a pinned comment. Don't forget to follow me online at @thezealman on Twitter for the latest news. I post random stuff on there as it comes out and theories as I go along. Please like this video if you like it, subscribe and hit the bell for further videos. And the one thing left to say is brush up on your spells, get your wands ready, Wizards Unite.